Movies can be a window into history for people.
The filmmakers have tried their best to be as authentic and credible as possible.
We felt that while we were telling a fictional story, the fact is that the backdrop was serious history.
I like the uniqueness of entering an entirely different world, which is real and feels real and is very different from the world that I'm a part of.
I think it's always a tremendous challenge for a costume designer in terms of a period movie to represent the history correctly.
When you hear the words Smithsonian Institute, you think serious, you think important.
My first trip to the Smithsonian kind of boils down to one moment. And when we went there, they had in a drawer a uniform from the American Revolution. And they took it out and they handed it to me. And as I was holding it, I noticed in the collar, there was sweat stains. That was the sweat to fight the war to win our country. I mean, right there, that's the sweat right there. It was really amazing. And I think that's, again, the value of the Smithsonian is with them, history comes alive.
This war will be fought not on the frontier or on some distant battlefield, but amongst us.
The film opens in 1776 as the Declaration of Independence is about to be written, when things look very, very dark for the Patriots. Big British victory at Camden. It looked like Cornwallis was going to move north with his army, link up with Clinton in New York, and annihilate Washington.
These rustics are so inept. Nearly takes the honor out of victory. Nearly.
The largest number of casualties in that Revolutionary War was experienced by Americans, not by the British.
Muskets were notoriously inaccurate, and the warfare of the time, the tactic of the time, meant that you lined up in opposing lines and you just shot at each other until someone broke.
One of the biggest challenges, obviously, in the movie was the armies. Every single uniform that you see in the movie is manufactured specifically for the Patriot.
Deborah Scott, who won the Oscar for Titanic, she is a stickler for details. I mean, she is into every stitch, things that you may never see, she cared an enormous amount about.
The character of Gabriel, who's played by Heath Ledger, the first time we see him in his Continental uniform, it's the first time you really get to see the Continentals up close. There's so many details. When you think of a men's garment, I mean, when you think of it today, you think, pants and a shirt, and these things had gaiters and breeches and neck stocks, and there were so many bits and pieces.
A big motivator to be in the Revolution was to get the jacket, because it was a jacket that you could wear in the summer and the winter. And many people fought because they were told that they would get a new uniform and a new set of boots each year. Of course, once they got the first one, they never got another one. The British, they were fine. I mean, they cared about their uniforms, and they had really gorgeous attire.
There were many different kinds of uniforms, again, in the British Army that we basically settled for one very strong look.
The helmets that I saw at the Smithsonian were kind of funky looking. I thought, wow, scary people wore the helmets that were this silly looking, but apparently they did. But yet, once we put them on all of our actors, and you see these kind of long, bushy helmets, they actually do seem intimidating after a while, when you see a group of them riding forward.
Would you like a lesson, sir, in the rules of war?
Tavington, the Green Dragoon, played by Jason Isaacs, is loosely based on Banastra Tarleton, who was a Green Dragoon officer who was particularly noted for his brutal tactics.
Jason is such a fine actor and has incredible presence, and so he put this uniform on, and he made it look macho and threatening.
You really expect to hold Cornwallis here using just militia?
Well, not me. You.
Benjamin Martin is a composite character made up of Thomas Sumter, Andrew Pickens, and Francis Marion, and a few bits and pieces from a number of other characters.
Benjamin Martin is really the epitome of the colonist at the time. His garments, when he decides to go off and finally join up with the militia, he's wearing the coat, the vest, the breeches, the boots, absolutely sort of the iconical thing of the time.
These men, they're not the sort we need.
They're exactly the sort we need.
You've got American soldiers who are using squirrel guns who are using whatever they have. You've got farmers.
Harry, they're not soldiers, they're farmers. They'd be better off letting the British just march through.
And so these militiamen made the enormous sacrifice of keeping Cornwallis and his army around their homes.
Having to fight in their backyards, losing families.
South Carolina militia were classic guerrilla fighters.
So now there's nothing to stop him from heading north to finish off Washington.
Unless we can keep Cornwallis in the south till the French arrive.
You actually trust the French to keep their word?
Absolument.
There's a character in the film named Jean Villeneuve, who is very, very loosely based on Lafayette. He's a French military officer who lost his family and seeks revenge, which is why he's volunteered to come to the colonies and help train the Patriot militia to fight against the Redcoats.
Through our conversation with the Smithsonian, they made it very clear to us that there would be no America today were it not for the French.
You could make a case that the American Revolution began in the North, was waged in the South, and won by the French.
Trust the French.
Yes, trust the French.
I mean, they financed, they supported us, and ultimately in Yorktown, they are the ones who surrounded Cornwallis by the sea so he could not retreat.
Before the final battle at the end of the movie, when Villeneuve comes out of his tent and he's all dressed up and ready for battle, it's really meant to show a few things. I mean, the flamboyance of his character. And also, I think historically, it really was that way. I mean, they really had the dress uniform and the everyday uniform. And so we just completely went with it, and it's absolutely historically accurate that that's how he could have appeared. And he plays it well.
If I die, I will die well dressed.
All bound slaves who give minimum 1 year service in the Continental Army will be granted freedom.
The great and painful irony of the American Revolution is the fact that this was a war fought for freedom.
So an integrated army fought to create our country, but then we didn't have an integrated army again until Korea.
The British early on said that any American slaves who fought with the British would be granted their freedom.
Blacks are fighting for the British side, assuming that they're going to get freedom. And there are blacks who are fighting for the Patriot side for the same reason, for freedom. Occam is not just fighting as an individual, he's fighting for a larger community, for a larger cause. And even though Occam doesn't talk about it, and the movie doesn't sort of elaborate on that, it's a reality of what's going on there.
At the end of the film, when you see this uncompleted home, what we're trying to say is that the great task of the American Revolution is incomplete. And the fact that the two people that we see working on that home are the reformed bigot and the freed slave says that the greatest challenge in terms of liberty that we're facing as we try and finish that only framed house is dealing with slavery and its repercussions.
My hope and prayer is that the sacrifices borne by so many will spawn and fulfill the promise of our new nation.
And we thought if there was ever a story that was uniquely American, the American Revolution is it.
What we hope the audience will take away with after seeing The Patriot is that the only way to protect your family is to protect the family of all men.
I think the lesson is war is a horrible, horrible thing that should be avoided at all costs. And sometimes it's necessary.
It was a different kind of warfare altogether. Out at a time, reload with powder and musket ball, and then reload again.
It wasn't a matter of just putting a bullet in and firing the rifle. It was a full process. While they're walking at you, shooting at you.
The formality, marching in a line, firing, then having to reload when someone's standing like 30, 40 yards away firing at you. Terrifying.
Very much to do with its time, you know, when these like kind of battles took place. The troops had to do everything the same. They had to march a certain way. They had to hold their weapon a certain way. The strategies were like kind of done by gentlemen in command.
imagine in a maelstrom of chaos and violence, it would have seemed like an eternity because you were really just a target for somebody else.
It was crazy and it was brutal. It was passion-driven.
Dress right!
It was left up to the heart of the man, you know. It wasn't about just pressing a button and dropping a bomb on the whole situation.
It's a feeling of that, like a couple of thousand people playing Russian roulette.
Take it!
And I really stretched that moment so people got what it really means.
We worked as many as 1,000 people at a time out in the field, 70 horses. Everything was big, huge, enormous.
You always see, like in battles, how people get shot, but nobody really shows how many actually fall and get shot at one time.
It wasn't about a particular stunt. It was about how massive and how brutal war is in general. Most of these battles we would shoot one long take. We would start at the very beginning with everybody marching, the explosions starting, coming through the smoke. They'd be going along till they'll start running, till they charge, till they make contact, all in one shot.
Strangest of all is doing this big fight scene, and if you get something wrong in the choreography, you go, chuk, 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 ah, oh, sorry, it's head cut instead of... They go, no, it's no problem, we'll just start from the beginning. Can we send those 500 horses over the hill and put that building up and replant those 40 bombs? No, it's fine. Don't worry. It'll just be 3 or 4 hours. You sit in your trailer.
At that time, the main weapon, in open warfare was like the musket with the bayonet.
Bayonet charge. We'll see who takes the glory from this field.
The Americans were very, very afraid of the English, especially of their accuracy and of their way how they use bayonets, which are really razor sharp, and a group of couple hundred people running at you with these bayonets ahead of you, like spears. This was really, really gruesome and it meant when you got hit by a bayonet and have a deep wound, you pretty much died.
We had phony bayonets, rubber ones.
Ready, team, go!
But to get in close for the detail work,
Flashing down this way, step back and jab.
where you really see the glint of the hard metal, we had to use real ones.
Action on the cannon.
Cannonballs, in the classic war movie, you saw always this big clouds, like this big explosion, and that was it. Through digital technology, you see the cannonballs hitting people physically.
It never occurred to me that they bounced. I always thought they were bombs, but they weren't bombs. They were just these huge immovable objects that plow through people.
We had some rigs built to put cannonballs on wires so you could line your troops up and have the cannonballs fly through the grass and have the stunt people fly out of the way as if they've been hit by them.
We shot with one of our main stunt doubles, and acted it out, what it would feel like when your head gets blown off. And then we gave it to our digital people. And when we first all saw it, we were kind of nearly dropped. It was everybody screaming. And that's a good sign when the people without any sound and daily start screaming. And we kind of knew we were onto something. Mel Gibson did a lot of hand-to-hand fighting.
Lord, make me fast and accurate.
And he has an extreme talent for it.
He's got 2 guns, cross pistols, carries 3 rifles. He can do all this and speed load at the same time, and Mel can do this.
It was actually very carefully choreographed. Attention to detail, try not to hurt anyone. And the stunt guys were in there big time instructing and looking out for safety and instructing you how to make it look better and meaner or nastier.
He carried a tomahawk around with him for days, weeks, months. We gave him a rubber one, so he always had something in his hand.
I got pretty good at it after a while, but you can walk away from an object, throw the damn thing, and make it stick. It's really just about eyeballing the distance.
Where'd you learn all that riding, shooting, scavenging?
My father taught me.
Teach you any humility?
He tried, it didn't take.
Heath's ledger is very similar to Mel. He has an athletic kind of quality to him. very serious about his fights he had to do.
You don't have time to be scared when you're filming a battle scene. It's highly choreographed for reasons of personal safety, because you're so much concentrating about getting it right, but at the same time making it look like you haven't done it before, and at the same time act, and at the same time be aware of the camera.
Before this war's over, I'm going to kill you.
Why wait?
Jason Isaacs is a true, like, English theater actor. They all learned that, like, in school. Sword fight is one of the first things, you know, they, like, know that I have to play a lot of Shakespeare. So they're very kind of good at that kind of stuff.
The hardest thing was handling the horse to try and stay on camera and to try and stay, you know, in the right focus line around some of the explosions. My big fights with Mel, we choreographed very early and we worked on them every day for months. You know, the adrenaline was flowing. We were like kids fighting on the beach. We were hacking away at each other, but, you know, hopefully we didn't do any long-term damage.
This is dangerous stuff. Always.
We came up with an idea of having him drop to his knees and actually impaling the chest of the horse, which drops the legs out, which throws the rider off. Very violent and physical. It's a strength move.
Never seen anybody who's like so elegant in his movements, and he's very powerful.
He uses his tomahawk against a sword. So he starts fighting with that till finally he starts chiseling the tomahawk in half.
He knows that like every moment of where he fights is not only a mechanical process, it's an acting moment.
We actually get to see the sword make contact, and then it retracts itself inside, and it's all about how the body reacts to it. If the man reacts to it and you see it in his face, body makes certain motions, and you add blood and sweat and smoke and all these really cool little elements to it, it becomes real.
The English, because they were trained soldiers, had a big advantage against the Americans, which was pretty much a group of farmers, only out of despair and out of like, because they were the underdog, where they had like kind of to come up with new ideas.
We're militia. This is not regular army.
That was their deal. They used to drop back and not be a target for anybody, and then fire back when they could. Sneakier sort of guerrilla war tactics.
You know, this is not the conduct of a gentleman.
If the conduct of your officers is the measure of a gentleman, I'll take that as a compliment.
The Continentals, the Patriots, so to speak, were fighting for a reason. They had passion. They had fire in their bellies. They had a reason to win, and they won an impossible battle because of that.
And that was like kind of the birds of freedom, and you saw it in the battles, and you saw it in a way, you know, how they fought.